Houston, we have go for main engine start. Begin final countdown. Roger that. Beginning countdown. T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And liftoff.
Ditching Suburbia is on a mission to help families leave traditional suburban lives in search of simpler living, closer family, richer education, and uncommon adventures. Find us on the web at ditchingsuburbia.com.
Hey folks, it's Michael Boink from Ditching Suburbia. On this episode of the Ditching Suburbia podcast, I'll be reading an essay entitled Pretty Prisons, Golden Handcuffs, and Caged Birds. In our travels, we're often treated to tours of workplaces. We've walked through company kitchens stocked with breakfast cereal and multiple beers on tap. We've stepped around dogs resting under desks. We've seen rooms dedicated to ping pong, foosball, and video games. It doesn't take much Google flu to find companies going even further in offering nap rooms, on-site gyms, yoga classes, chef service, speakeasies, and even overnight apartment spaces. We're working longer. It's not hard to understand the desire for more workplace perks. Our average work week in the USA is approaching 50 hours. In order to give our employers that much time, we need extra services in return. We also have to work that long in order to pay for the golden handcuffs that we've willingly held out our wrists for, inflated lifestyles on the left hand and even bigger homes on the right. But we aren't happy. Big house, big life, fancy office with plenty of perks, yet most of us are unhappy with our jobs. Add in a public school schedule, sports, drama, soccer, and church, and we're never home to enjoy what we're working so hard to pay for. That stuff keeps piling up, and it's easier to rent storage than deal with it. At this point, we're in the warehousing business whether we realize it or not. Pretty prisons. It's not a bad thing to want a fun company culture, and it's not a bad thing to enjoy working in nice offices. It's not bad to want a nice house in the suburbs. But be careful about that world that you're creating for yourself. Are you building yourself a pretty prison? Accept that job knowing the hours will be long? That's a brick. Adopt that dog because you know you can bring it to work? There's a brick. Sign a loan for a boat? There's a brick. Sign up for a 401k plan with a long vesting period? There's a brick. Start working later because it's easy and supper's provided? There's a brick. Start buying $5 a day cup of coffee on the way in every day? There's a brick. Move that box of unused stuff to the garage rather than all the way out to the curb? There's a brick. Prisons are about limitations, restrictions, immobility, loss of control. Once you're safely locked into your pretty prison, what happens if that job goes away? What happens if the housing market tanks? What happens if one of you gets sick? Which bird? The 1983 poem by Maya Angelou compares two birds, one caged and one free, and it goes like this. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade wind soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn-bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. Our first preference may be for the caged bird because we get to enjoy the song. But a closer look helps us understand that the song isn't a gift. It's a plea. Do you sing? Are you singing away while held hostage in a pretty prison of your own making? Or are you free? Break out of prison. Successful prison breaks are rarely figured out on the fly. It took years to plan a recent prison break in New York. Getting out of the suburbs isn't much different. It'll take time. You'll have to find a route and avoid obstacles. You'll have to ignore a whole bunch of people who don't want you to leave. You have to figure out how to support yourself once you're out. But the first step is seeing that prison for what it is. Our culture will sell you that prison as the American dream. But we know better.
You've been listening to the Ditching Suburbia podcast. Ditching Suburbia helps common families create uncommon lives. Learn more at ditchingsuburbia.com.